Have you ever noticed how one small moment can ruin an entire day? One careless comment, one disrespectful look, one sharp sentence. And suddenly, your chest feels heavy, your mood darkens, your mind keeps replaying it. Most people think they suffer because of what others did, but that is only half the truth. You do not lose your peace because a stone was thrown at you. You lose it when you decide to carry the stone for the rest of the day. Today's story is about a man named Thomas. A man so strong in his body and so unguarded in his spirit that he spent years carrying the weight of other people's ugliness. And by the end of this story, you may finally understand how to put down what was never yours to carry. Thomas was known throughout the village for his strength. He could lift grain sacks, others struggled to move. He could chop wood from dawn until dark. He could carry barrels, pull carts, and work through pain without complaint. But there was one thing Thomas could not carry well: words, insults, mockery, disrespect. If someone laughed at him, he replayed it all day. If someone doubted him, he argued for hours. If someone insulted him, he carried the wound like proof that the world was against him. He reacted to everything. A shove became a grudge. A rude tone became a battle. A small offense became another heavy weight inside him. In his mind, every harsh moment had to be answered, defended, remembered, dragged forward. And over time, something inside him began to bend. He still looked powerful, but he no longer walked like a free man. His shoulders were low. His eyes were tired. His breathing was shallow. The village still shone with morning light. Children still laughed. Fields still glowed green. But Thomas saw none of it, because when a man keeps his eyes fixed on the stones he carries, he stops seeing the beauty around him. One morning, Thomas made a decision. He would climb the mountain. He told himself he was going there to find peace, to clear his head, to get away from the voices, the gossip, the small humiliations that had filled his days. But as he climbed, his steps grew slower, his breathing turned heavy, and in his imagination he could almost feel it clearly, a giant sack hanging from his shoulders. Inside it were all the things he had collected: the insult from the baker, the joke from the blacksmith, the time his brother mocked his temper, the day a merchant treated him like dirt. Each memory was another stone. Each reaction was another weight. Each grievance was another choice to keep suffering after the moment had passed. By noon, Thomas could barely continue. He was strong enough to carry wood, strong enough to carry iron. But this was different, because emotional weight does not only bend the back, it bends the spirit, and a bent spirit makes every road feel longer than it truly is. Halfway up the slope, Thomas met an old merchant. The man carried a small pack of goods, not much, yet he walked with surprising ease. Light feet, relaxed shoulders, clear eyes. Thomas stared at him. "How are you moving so easily?" he asked. "My bag is much heavier than yours." The old merchant smiled. "Is it?" Thomas frowned. The merchant stepped closer. "Tell me," he said, "what exactly is inside your bag?" Thomas answered without thinking. "The lies people told, the insults they gave me, the disrespect, the shame, the things they said that should never have been said." The old man bent down and picked up 2 stones from the path. He placed one stone back on the ground. Then he held the other out to Thomas. "Look carefully," he said. "The first stone is the insult. It lands and then it stays behind. The second stone is your reaction. That is the one you choose to carry." Thomas went silent. "Look peas in amen. Look peas in amen." The merchant continued. "The person who hurt you throws the stone and keeps walking. But you pick it up, you polish it, you relive it, you place it inside your own sack. And then you wonder why your journey feels so heavy." Those words struck Thomas harder than any insult ever had, because for the first time he saw the truth. He had spent years thinking he was protecting his dignity, but he was not protecting himself. He was punishing himself with the debris of other people's moods. The old merchant pointed toward the valley. "Tell me," he asked, "where are the people who offended you?" Last week Thomas looked down. He could not even see most of the village from where they stood. "They are gone," the merchant said. "They finished the moment and moved on. But you brought it all the way up the mountain." Then he touched Thomas's shoulder. "Strength is not proven by how much pain you can carry. Strength is proven by what you refuse to carry any longer." Something opened inside Thomas, a painful kind of clarity. He reached in his mind for the sack, opened it, and began to empty it. One stone for the insult from the baker, one for the mockery of his brother, one for the rude customer, one for the old embarrassment he had replayed 100 times. He imagined each stone falling to the ground, and with each one, his breathing changed. His chest widened, his neck loosened, his back straightened. It was not magic. The past was still real, but it no longer needed a room inside his body. Before they parted, the old merchant gave Thomas a simple practice. Every night, he said, "Place your hand over your chest. Think of one moment from the day that still feels heavy. See it as a stone resting in your palm. Then say this: 'This stone is not mine. I return it to the earth.' Take one deep breath and place it down. Do not carry today's ugliness into tomorrow's sleep." Thomas listened as if hearing the language of freedom for the first time. That night, he did exactly what the merchant said. He placed his hand on his chest. He remembered the cruel remark that had followed him since morning. He shaped it in his mind into a stone. He whispered, "This stone is not mine. I return it to the earth." Then he breathed deeply. And for the first time in years, he felt the difference between pain and attachment. Pain may visit, but attachment is a choice. And peace begins the moment you stop choosing to carry what should have been left behind. Weeks passed, then months. Thomas was still human, still imperfect, still capable of being stung by rudeness, mockery, and disappointment. But now something had changed. He no longer built a home for every offense. When words came at him, he paused. When anger rose, he noticed it. When pain landed, he asked himself one simple question: will I carry this, or will I let it fall? That question changed everything. His walk became lighter, his face softened, his eyes lifted. He began noticing the wind in the trees, the warmth of bread, the color of dawn. The world had not become kinder overnight. He had simply stopped giving every cruel moment the right to own the rest of his day. That is the lesson. Peace does not begin when everyone treats you well. Peace begins when you stop making a home for every stone they throw. You cannot always choose what reaches you, but you can choose what remains with you. So tonight before you sleep, place your hand on your chest. Find one stone, only one. Name it, breathe, and put it down. Because your life was not meant to become a sack filled with other people's bitterness. It was meant to be a road light enough for you to look up and see the stars. If this story spoke to you, write this below: I put the stone down. Not for me, for yourself, as a decision, as a release, as the beginning of a lighter life.